It's Children's Mental Health Week, and we're exploring the power of paying attention to what's going on inside, discovering clues from our thoughts, our feelings, and our bodies. Hello, I'm Kathryn Lovewell, author of the Inner Detective Journal, a gentle guide to help young children make sense of their inner world, especially when life feels difficult. We are shining a light on the importance of children's mental health, so every child has the opportunity to learn skills to respond to themselves kindly when things go wrong, which they inevitably will. So let's hear from one of our special guests now. Hello again. Kathryn Lovewell here with another special guest for Children's Mental Health Week. Today I'm joined by Guler Denktas, founder of Alternative Nature Time Nursery, teacher and parent consultant. Very excited to have you all the way from Cyprus. Welcome, Guler.
Nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Now, we are going to be looking at mental health from an early perspective, because you're working and supporting, looking after children from 18 months old up to 5. And I know that you'll be creating a primary school, which is very exciting to hear. But what I'm really curious about is, from your perspective, how do we sow seeds? How do we sow those really lovely seeds of strong, healthy mental health for our really little ones?
You know, when you think about school, many people think about the lesson plans and learning to read and write and all these things. But here we think about emotional literacy, because it's the most important foundation you can give to children to take on with them to the later life. And it's very simple to teach children to recognize their emotions and be able to express themselves and see that it is accepted and it is seen and they're heard and they're seen. And it takes so little when they're young. And we can precisely see how easy it is to reach them when they're younger and unaffected from the environment. Whereas when they're older and they have all those inner voices that is confusing them and pushing them into little boxes that the society impose on us. When they're young, we literally observe how easy it is to give them simple tools to be in harmony with all the feelings that they have inside.
I love that. Yes, so they can open to whatever their experience, and if they're encouraged to say, yes, this is okay. Yes, that's a big feeling, isn't it? And how to be with that without any judgment that we should behave in a particular way, which is the influence we get as we get older. Sounds very, very powerful. How do we help our parents with this? How do we, you're a trained professional, you're working with children all day, you're supporting them with these skills. But let's be honest, as a mum or dad, we're sort of thrown in the deep end. We have great intention, I would suggest, on the whole. We really want to help and support our children, but we don't necessarily have the skills. Where does a parent start?
I'll put it this way. Parents comes with all the good intentions. But sometimes good intentions doesn't serve us good, because as parents, most of us think that we are here to help our child get on with life with least possible difficulty in life, which is
No
not,
suffering.
yes, we rush into the rescue mode as parents. We think, oh, let me help them. Let me fix this for them. Let me do this for them, which restricts the child from learning, restricts the resilience. So we teach parents to let children fail. We teach parents to be there without fixing. We teach parents how to hold space and not feel guilty about not doing much. Sometimes doing less is doing much more than you think. So we teach parents that our job as adults is to give the child the space to make mistake, to fail, to fall, to get up, to dust off, and to move on. And we're there as the safe place for them to come back to let all those emotions, to whine and cry and cheer and scream and be happy, because these emotions, they're learning. It's the learning space for them. And it's very new. Everything is so new. And we just need to be there to hold that space for them.
I love that. It's giving them that self-belief almost from day one. It's like, oh yes, owie, and up we get. Still knowing that that child has got somewhere to have a cuddle because they've got an owie, but they can go, owie, yes, that's an owie, and move on and know that they're okay to get back up. They can do that for themselves. Gives them real agency, doesn't it? Straight away, real self-care, self-respect. So it sounds strange to say these terms when they're 2 and 3 years old, but actually it's like dearie, dearie, and begin again, which of course, as an adult, I think many adults, we're learning, oh yes, can I begin again without judgment? That's quite extraordinary.
Yes, it's the fine line between, when a child is struggling to tie their shoe and not quite there yet. It's the fine line between rushing in to help them do it and avoid them learning it and not doing anything about it. So you're there and you're telling, you failed. That's frustrating, right? Okay. What do you want to do? You want to try again? Do you want to put it this way? Then we want to hold this one first. So you're coaching the child to fail and learn and move on.
I love that. So the parent sees them, if we have that mindset of, oh, I'm there to coach and support and be a cheerleader, and of
Yes.
course have that, that encouraging energy that it's safe to fail and try again. Oh dear. I mean, I vividly remember, doing the whole let's learn how to ride a bicycle with my sons. And my youngest, my eldest, the first go, he was so keen. He wasn't fazed by oh yes, we will fall off. He just wasn't fazed by it because he knew his end result. He wanted to ride a bicycle. And he was really, I think, quite ridiculously young at riding a bicycle. But that's because he had a passion. He wanted to learn. It's like, okay. And we find a nice space where when you fall off, because you will fall off, it doesn't hurt too much. And we get back up. It's really empowering.
Yeah. I have a little story about my son as well, which I love sharing. And I got permission from him. When he was very young and we were at the park and kids would cut off his line and won't let him go, and he would get upset about it. I had a little chat with him saying, sometimes people are not as thoughtful as you would like them to be, but it's not about you. Let's see what you can do about this. So we sat down and discussed how can we approach this. And years later, he had an incident at school, some sort of bullying. And I was very nervous to see how we're going to handle this. Is he going to get hurt? What do I do? What about his mental health? And he came up to me and said, Mom, don't worry about it. It's not about me. I don't know what they're going through in their house. You don't know. It's okay. Let them be them. And I don't have any negative feeling about it. So don't worry. And I thought, okay.
Wow. So he's coaching you.
Yeah.
Because, well, reflecting back to you, what you taught him when he was little. I love that. And this really...
He was so young and he didn't have any other cognitive idea about what was happening there. And the seed I put there was very much well received by him and he internalized it.
That is so powerful. And it really, I think, gives a great message to parents. We can sow these seeds really young and they may not translate it they may not have cognitive language, but they'll feel the energy of it. They will, if we model it, if we are demonstrating it, if we keep repeating and reassuring. And that's where I think the power of bringing in these emotional intelligence skills really young will empower them for life. It's not just when they have a difficulty at primary school, when they get into maybe a little bit of heartbreak at secondary school, or it's actually when they get a job and when it will be their lifetime's skill set that will support them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's really exciting. So with all your experience, Guler, what's your top tips when you've got a little one that actually you feel maybe a little bit overwhelmed with needing to control or at least hold some boundaries around? What are the top tips you can offer anyone watching that, okay, how do we navigate this? What's maybe 1 or 2 steps that are, or processes that a parent or carer can think about to lay these really strong emotionally intelligent foundations?
I think the first and utmost important thing is your own nervous system. So when this boundary pushing incident happens, which it happens with young kids, check in with yourself. This is where all the work we do comes into play, because we can't teach without first training ourselves. As soon as you approach that child with calm nervous system, with soft tone, with easy breath, it immediately reflects on the child. All you need to do is approach that child with calmness and openness and let them figure it out.
Love that. It's really giving them choice and agency over their experience. And if we have that adult with a centered, calm, grounded nervous system, which I think I need to name, is hard if you haven't had a lot of sleep for a few years. It isn't easy if you've got another one on the way and maybe you're already feeling the effects of that. And there's fatigue, and so our fuse is shorter. I think we need to acknowledge the humanness of our lovely parents. I'm just thinking about myself in this moment. It was really hard to be that steady presence,
You're
to be able
right.
to show that.
You're right. But also you need to understand that it is very common. I guess one of the other things that is important about those moments is to understand that the judgment you get is temporary and it's not important. But what's important is the connection you have with your child. As long as you're keeping everyone safe and you're there, you're managing the situation, it doesn't matter what others judge you on. It matters your connection and your relationship. What matters is your connection and your relationship with your child.
And of course, what pops up for me as you share that is also, can we let go of the self-judgment? Because I definitely struggled with that. Even simple things, fussy eaters. Oh, my eldest, he's still quite particular, I'll say, even now as an adult. But I had a particular set of thoughts in my head of what a good mum would feed the child. Excuse me, he wouldn't have a bar of it. He's just, and I would beat myself up, And I remember going to a nutritionist saying, well, these are the 4 things he's eating. She surprised me and said, well, that's great. I was like, oh, okay. She said, oh, yes, he's getting a nice nutritional balance there. Oh, but until I'd had that support, I was thinking, he should be able to eat this, this, and this, and he's not eating this. And that negative thinking, that inner criticism can actually disrupt your ability to stay steady for the child, would you say?
Another thing I always tell parents who come to me is pick your battles, because we can't be great at everything. But what we can do is we can sit down and identify what our family values are, what matters the most, and be really, really upfront and strict about those values, those specific values, and maybe a little bit more lenient and flexible with others. Because seriously, if we try and be perfect at all times, it is not, we are kind of making sure that we're going to fail, because it's humanely not possible.
I love that. Can we allow ourselves to be human? And there will be imperfection. There'll be imperfection with the way we sometimes handle things, and we will blow a gasket occasionally, and we may not support the child in the way the ideal might be, but are we allowed to give ourselves a break about that? Can we actually reset? And also, I love that, just choose your battles, because yes, as they grow, there'll be some big ones that you'll really need to hold steady with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. All right, so one final sort of exploration that we can do is looking at what sort of, you talked about tone and presence, but what sort of language can we start practicing? What sort of things can we start seeding for our children? How would you suggest parents speak with their child when their language skills are starting to develop?
Well, speak with your child from day one, from birth. They understand your tone. What I say is speak in simple language. Children ask as much as they are ready to learn. So don't overwhelm them with too much, but do tell them when they ask for it. So praise the journey, not the destination. Praise the effort, not the skill. We need to teach our children that we love them for who they are, not for what they do. So when we teach them this, they understand that even when they misbehave, even when they see the upset in our faces from certain behaviors, they know that we still love them no matter what. And it's the way we talk to them that teaches them that core love is there to stay.
Love that. It's so important, isn't it, for a child then, because they'll feel that and they'll feel safe. And then they will feel safe to push those boundaries, to experiment with their play, to go outside the lines and know that they are safe to do all of that because of that guided support from the parent.
Having said that, we don't try and encourage all the boundary pushing behaviors. I think what we need to remind ourselves that it is possible to hold a boundary with love. So holding a boundary doesn't mean pushing the child away or scolding the child or withdrawing your love and care. You can still be very loving and you can still be very strict about your boundary.
I love that. And that's quite an art form, isn't it? That takes practice. Yes. So for anyone watching today, anyone wanting to embrace a really heart-centered and grounded approach to their parenting, I think holding them with compassion and say, we too will be learning as we go, just like your child, and it will take practice.
Yeah. You put it very perfectly.
Beautiful. Guler, I know there are so many more questions that lots of people would like to be asking you, especially with, all of these skills and experience you've had for decades working with young people, our little precious ones. I will put some details in, share in the links about how they can get hold of you to connect if they'd like to learn more. Obviously, not everyone lives in Cyprus, so they may not be able to see you in person, but I really value your experience and sharing how we can support our little ones and the importance of it when they're so young. Recognizing that their ability to receive and learn and grow is really powerful.
It's such a privilege to raise a young child. We are shaping the next generation. So I strongly believe that we as adults need to work on ourselves. We need to work on our mental health. We need to be compassionate to ourselves to be able to reflect that onto our younger generation.
What a perfect place to complete. Thank you so much for your time, Guler. And I look forward to learning more with you as we bring the boost away over to Cyprus.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And I love what you guys are doing and to many more.
Thank you so much.
If you found this curious conversation helpful, the Inner Detective Journal might be just what you need. It's a gentle, powerful way to help young children build lifelong coping skills with kindness from within. Click the link to get your copy for your child, your class, maybe your entire organization if they've got children, so you can help them through the tough times. Let's keep listening and keep supporting children's mental health together.